Hey guys, my name's Lisa,
And I'm Brittany.
and this is the Imperfect Moms Club. So, what's worse, traveling in an airplane with small children or road trips with small children?
So I think that air travel is more intense, but it's over quicker. It's more intense, but it's faster.
I agree with you, and it's because so it is faster, but it is more because there's a lot of people, right? Like airports, like the flight might be short, but then you're at the airport, and I mean, going through TSA with a small child. I mean, I think anxiety plays a huge role in this because I'm going to be 31 in a few months, but I still care way too much what other people think. So if it takes forever for me to load all the luggage and the small children through TSA, there's somebody behind me, if I have a child that's screaming on an airplane, suddenly I'm that mom that can't control her kid, right?
Mhm.
Whereas, when you're in a car, it's just you and there's no other people, so the only person annoyed is you. I mean, it's annoying, but at the same time, you can like take your time and you can make stops and, so it is over quicker, but you're right. It's more intense. It's more stressful. So yeah, I think that air travel is harder than
Yes.
road trips. I think Holly's going to join us in this episode.
She has something to say. Yeah, so I've traveled on an airplane with a baby twice.
Mhm.
Clara is the only one who's been on an airplane. Molly has not. So the first time I felt so prepared because I did all the research and I had all of the hacks. There's still a funny story about it that we'll share later. But the second time was like the worst ever.
No.
I was ready to throw her out of the plane. Like it was so bad. It was so bad. So it was a really stressful trip. It wasn't like a fun trip because we had to fly to Chicago to go visit my grandmother who was passing away, and I was really close to my grandmother.
Oh, no.
It was at Christmas time. So that was our Christmas break. We spent our Christmas break either in not the hotel lobby, the hospital lobby, or this tiny, tiny hotel room with a toddler. So it was like already like really stressful and just not fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the way back, I didn't know, but she had a double ear infection.
Oh,
So
no.
up in a plane for, I think it was like 2 hours. Oh, she was just screaming bloody murder. And I was just like, I was done. I was so done. So lucky for me, on the flight home, my mom and my brother were also on the same flight, and they were just a seat, like a row ahead of us.
Oh, cool.
And so I just gave her to my mom. And I'm like, here you go, grandma. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And she just didn't like feel good after that. So I finally took her to the doctor and they looked in her ear and they're like, yeah, she's got double ear infection. I'm like, oh, so I felt like a horrible mom.
Oh.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, I mean, it's just like motherhood, right? Like you can read all this stuff and you can be as prepared as you want to be, but I mean, nothing will really prepare you until you're like in the situation and then you kind of have to figure it out, like, well, I've got some hacks up my sleeves that I'll share in a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. And then, my husband and I, we used to get airport drunk. Every time we would go anywhere, like our favorite thing to do is just hang out at an airport bar. But when you have a kid, you can't do that. And so it's totally different. And it was just, we were thrown into this completely new situation. We haven't, Holly, obviously she's 1 month, so she hasn't really done anything yet. But with Lily, we've been on road trips and we've been on, I think it was one plane trip. We went to Ohio for Thanksgiving last year, or 2 Thanksgivings ago, I guess. And so that was interesting to say the least. Airplane bathrooms are tiny, and airplane bathroom changing stations. I mean, can you even call them that? Like changing a baby on a plane is an experience, let me tell you. Yeah, it's, because you're already cramped, and I mean, basically the changing station is like the size of the tray that you get like to eat, and so I don't know, but you know, there's like I feel like there's a magic age maybe that maybe I just haven't hit that age yet. Maybe once Lily can like sit there and watch a movie or something and I don't have to be, but at the time she's only 5 months, and so yeah, anyway, it was interesting. I prefer road trips. It's just road trips they suck because they're long.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean you can be I feel like you can be better prepared for a road trip, and you have more control over things.
Oh yeah.
There's not, like I'd mentioned before, there's not other people wanting you to hurry up, and there's not other people judging you from, 3 rows back or whatever. So
Yeah, I definitely like road trips more. I mean, it's very stressful, but it's more spread out. It's like you can take it in little bites, kind of, instead of
mhm.
one big thing. And like, if you don't get to the car on time, the car's not going to leave without you. It's okay.
Yeah,
And it's okay.
that's true.
Um, so yeah, and I like it because we find little random mom and pop shops and just random little local attractions along the way. I love to stop at little random towns and see what's there.
Hmm.
And like it like adds to the like adventure, you know,
Yeah,
of it all. That's probably one of my favorite things. And you're just like you're on your own schedule. So if you need to stop early, it's totally fine. Or if you want to just keep driving because the kids are sleeping, then you can do that. I mean, it can get a little cramped for sure. Like we have a van and we still can get kind of cramped in there, but
yeah,
I definitely prefer being in the car.
yeah. Yeah, because and plus, yeah, you can make stops like you said. So if toddlers is over it, needs to stretch their legs, and you can stop at like a pit stop and go on a little walk or something. We usually stop at, so there's a place called Bucky's. It's a Texas thing. It's like this huge gas station, and they sell a bunch of stuff too. Like it's everybody's favorite place. But like they have really nice bathrooms. That's what they're famous for. And so I'll always try to get Lily to hold off on needing a new diaper until we get there, because I mean, hello.
She heard diaper. She's like,
Yeah,
I'm good at
she was like,
those.
I need one.
I make a new one every 30 minutes.
Oh no. Okay. Like I said, so we try to stop at this Bucky's, and luckily for us, you can usually find like them along the way. So wherever we are going, there's usually several of them. So luckily Lily will, she'll let us like go until we get to one, and then I can change her. Cause yeah, changing a baby in like a weird gas station, like I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'll just change her in my car if I can't change her at, that place. But
I always feel like sometimes at these gas stations where you're trying to change your baby, like I'm scared the diaper changing station is gonna like collapse. Because I've been to a few where they're like duct taped together, and I'm
oh
like, oh,
no.
oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And
Uh
it's a tile floor. And so I definitely don't hang the diaper bag on it, you know? And yeah, I mean, like when you become a parent, any surface is a changing table, you
yeah.
know? I've changed my kids in the most weird locations, and you make it work. You make it work.
Yeah. Like what you're hearing so far? Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you, and we really love sharing with you guys. Now back to the show. What are some of your go-to travel hacks for moms? Because I feel like, if anybody listening, like it'd be good for them to know if they're planning a trip with a small child.
Yes. So the one I always do is we always have a cooler in the car. This is for road trips because when the kids get hangry, like that'll just ruin your whole day.
Yep.
So I have a cooler and I put it like right behind me. So like my husband will be driving or I'm driving or whatever. And it's right behind me. So it's in between me and the kids. And so I can get to it
Mm-hmm.
and I can just reach my hand in there and grab food. And if we're gonna be driving for like all day, I will buy a bunch of those Lunchables, which normally I don't buy because I'm like, that's such a waste of money. I can just buy a whole box of crackers and ham and make my own Lunchable and it's cheaper or whatever and probably healthier. But I'll just buy a bunch of those because that way when the kids are hungry, you don't have to like worry about finding an exit that has food. Like you can just open the packet and just like throw it at them and it's
Yeah.
all in a tray and it's ready.
Just chuck it at
Just check it, just throw them some goldfish. It's so much easier when they get hangry. And I find that the kids, they think like they're really cool and they're really special because I don't buy them. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll do that instead of like trying to make them like a sandwich or something because they just won't eat it or they'll pick all the lettuce off. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll fill that up. And then just as we go along the trip, I'll try and stop at a grocery store and like run in real quick and grab some food and throw up in the cooler and like refill it. Because
Oh, that's
grocery
good.
store food is so much cheaper than gas station food.
Yeah.
So whenever we stop, my husband runs in, he's like, do you want anything? I'm like, no, you're gonna spend $5 on a lemonade. Like I can get it for 99 cents at the Hannaford. But whatever makes him happy. Like if he's the driver, then I'm just like, you do you. Like it's fine. You're the driver. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till I go to the grocery store.
Yeah. Wear baby through TSA. Like, that's what I do with, because they have to scan the stroller in the car seat, and so, like, instead of having to, mess with, like, bringing baby and, taking baby out and all that stuff, you can just wear your baby, and then you can just walk on by. You can walk through the thing, and then I like it too because, I can, like, put my stuff in the stroller and, like, push the stroller with all my stuff in it, and then I don't have to, like, carry a backpack and a baby and,
Yeah, I don't know if this one is just like common sense to all the moms out there, but to me, it was like mind blowing when I read this hack. And it's to buy those little individual packs of milk. I can't remember the brand. I think it's like Horizon or something. It's like a juice box, but it's like milk,
Oh, yeah,
and it
that
doesn't
sounds
have to be
nice.
refrigerated. Um, because you can take those packaged things through TSA. Now, if I remember correctly, I think they have you open it and then they like check it to make sure it's not like, I don't know, gasoline or something. So I would pack like a bunch of them in my checking bag and then I would have like maybe one in my carry-on and I wouldn't open it till right before I got to TSA.
Right.
And then they'd have you open it and then I'd just dump it in her sippy cup. I would just bring an empty sippy cup and I'd dump it in there. And I had never heard of like shelf stable milk before. And I was like, this is amazing. I mean, like, I like my milk cold,
Yeah.
but she drank it lukewarm. So, okay, sure.
I had no idea about that at all. I mean, I've seen those before, but I didn't know they were shelf safe. That's cool.
Yeah, they can just be in your bag and they don't start to go bad until you open it. I don't understand the science, but it was a lifesaver.
That reminds me of another hack that I have. So, for moms that are bottle feeding, not breastfeeding, so buy like they sell like just individual bottles of like pre-made formula. And it's so you don't have to mess with, like, mixing water and powder on a plane, like, you can just, like, put the nipple on there and then shove it in the baby's mouth, like, in it so, I mean, they're a little bit expensive, but I feel like it's so worth it to just get those before a trip, and then you just don't have to worry about it, and, like, those things don't, start going bad until you open them either, so, like, just throw them in your bag and throw them away when you get to wherever you're going. And yeah, that's another one of my faves. My favorite hacks is just I love getting those because then yeah, you don't have to worry about it because the powder can get everywhere, and when you're cramped in a tiny seat, you don't always have all the room to and then you spill water everywhere, and then yeah, it's super annoying. So
Yeah, because then like people get mad or like people are weird and they get grossed out. And I'm like, it's just powder. Like, calm
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
So another hack, and this one kind of goes for traveling and also can apply to like if you're at a restaurant with your kids and you just need them to like be quiet for 20 minutes, is whenever they get like kid meals and happy meals, and no judging. Okay, we all do it. We all buy our kids Happy Meals every now and then because we just don't feel like cooking, So we do it. So let them play with their toy, for like the first 15 minutes that it's like the best thing in the world. And then after that, they don't care anymore. So you
Mhm.
save all of those little Happy Meal toys and you just like put them in your purse and then you bring them out when you need them to be quiet. So at the restaurant and they're getting antsy and those little crayons just aren't doing it anymore, you just pull one of those out and they're like, oh, like it's mind blown. And it's like a brand new toy and they're small and they're compact and they're not going to play with them if you just put them in their little toy box. They just don't. But if you
Yeah.
save them and you pull them out when you really need them to be quiet, like it's a game changer.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, don't check. So for me, like something that my husband always do is we check the car seat and the stroller at the gate. That way, like you're not having to carry your baby all through the airport. But also, if you do carry your infant on you through TSA and then through the airport, you can put all the like some of the stuff in the stroller, and then you don't have to like get rid of the stroller at the way beginning, and you can just check it at the gate. And then when you get off the plane, they just give you your stroller right there. So you don't even have to go to baggage claim to get your car seat and stroller. You just like, whoop, cool, thank you, and then you just plop your baby back in, and then yeah, that way you're not having to like shove it in the overhead compartments either.
Oh,
'Cause,
no, that's the
yeah,
worst.
that can be
No
that
one
can be
will
annoying.
suffer as much anxiety as the person trying to fit their bag in overhead
Oh
and
yeah,
everyone's judging you.
yep.
And then like the flight attendant's there. It's like, why don't you turn it? Why don't let's move it over here. And you're just like sweating and you're like, I'm just trying to put my bag away.
And then they tell you
Too
to
much.
like try to put it somewhere like at the back of the plane, and you're like, no, you don't understand. Like I'm gonna need the stroller like as soon as possible. Like I don't want to
Mhm.
wait for everybody to get off the plane so that I can go. No. Yeah, so just check it at the gate and you'll get it immediately when you leave, and that's like the best thing ever.
give Try to give your baby a pacifier or have them drinking milk or sucking on something during takeoff and landing.
Yeah, that's mine too.
Yeah, because it does something with the ear popping.
Yeah.
Again, it's science. I don't know. But we were lucky, whereas Clara didn't really need a passy. She kind of like had one for like the first 2 weeks of life and then she didn't really care. So I didn't have to wean her or anything. But when it was time to fly, I was like, oh, you love your passy. This is the best thing ever. So I had like 3 passies. And if they're too little for that, or too old for that, or they just don't do a passy, like buy those little dum dum suckers. They're like pennies. They cost like nothing. There's these tiny, tiny little suckers. Just give that to them and they'll just suck on it while they're taking off or while they're landing. And it's supposed to help with the ear popping. So then they're not screaming
Nice.
at you.
Cool. I love those dum-dums. And then mommy can eat them too.
Yes, I use those for bribery like all the time in kindergarten, at my house.
Not just for the ear popping, but like for like when Lily was 5 months and she was on a plane, or when she was little, she would like fall asleep after eating too. And so like that bought us like an hour and a half where she was just asleep. And it was magical because
Mhm.
because we didn't have to worry about her like screaming for like an hour and a half. So that's yeah. So yeah, but it definitely, I don't know the science either, but yeah, like kids, they can't like, they can't clear their own ears yet or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I think that, yeah, I think that's probably like the best tip to give any mom is just to like feed your kid at takeoff and landing, or like make sure
Mhm.
they're doing. So let's talk about road trip hacks. So one of my favorite hacks is I I pack all the bottles that I need, but I put the water in already. So,
Mhm.
I just have a bunch of bottles that already have water, because, like, when you're in the car, like, I don't want to spill water all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I already have the formula, so like, one mess is enough. So I don't
Yes.
want to also be like spilling water. So I have like whatever 4 or 5 bottles or however many I need, and they all have like just enough water to do like one feeding. Because that's the thing too, is if you're trying to do 2 feeds in one bottle, like it's gonna go bad before. So I just I'll put like 2 or 3 ounces of water, and then however much, and then I'll just have the formula separate. But yeah, the water's already in there, so all you got to do is just Scoop the
Just
formula.
dump it in.
Yeah.
I used to do that for middle of the night feedings because I knew by the time that they only needed one feeding, I would fill the bottle to like, I don't know, 6 ounces or whatever it was, and then have a tiny little Tupperware with the pre-measured formula, and I would just dump it, shake it, and shove it in their mouth and be like, here you go. And it just like made it so much easier than having to get up and run to the kitchen and you're
Yeah.
fumbling around. Like,
Yeah,
where's the
man.
scoop?
I could have used that when I was when Lillian was super little. Maybe I'll do that with Holly. Another one that something that I discovered was you can feed a baby in a car seat. And I didn't know this before. So we spent like we did our first road trip that we did. We like took her out of the car seat and we're like all cramped and like my husband's cramped in the back seat and he's like trying to feed her and stuff. And then like, yeah, I mean, you can feed a baby in a car seat. So it limits the
Mhm.
amount of stops you have to make. You know, you can just put it right in their mouth and they're in the car seat and it's fine. You know, they're protected. I mean, they're in the car seat, they're not going anywhere. So even if the car's moving, like just boop, you know, and
Yep.
then you only have to stop to change them. So yeah,
Mhm.
then because limiting the number of stops is like everything. Because
Yes.
yeah, you can take as long as you want, but if you don't want to take forever, it's nice to not have to.
I had to feed Clara once while I was driving on my own. It was a 3-hour trip, which doesn't seem like forever, but if you're all by yourself with a baby, it is forever.
Yeah.
And I think so, like, I'm in the driver's seat, right? And she's obviously in the next row back, but she was like over, like on the passenger side. So that way, and she was rear facing. So that way, when she did need to feed, I just had to like reach my arm back and shove the bottle and I had to like hold it. So my arm was dying
Oh no.
by the end, but I was able to feed her, which I would rather just have like my arm falling asleep than driving for 3 hours with a screaming baby or having to pull over or
Yeah,
something.
I feel like that's like just the mom thing. Like you'd rather like just you be uncomfortable by yourself than have to
Yeah.
deal with like because little kids and they're uncomfortable, they're very loud about it. So
Oh, yes. I'm hungry. I'm mad. Like, okay. Here, have some. One thing I do with my kids now, because they're older, and this is for road trips that are like 2 hours long or like a week long type of trip, is at the beginning of the day, I will give them each their own paper bag, like a sandwich bag, those ones that like your mom used to put peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in for school. And I will fill it with the most random quote unquote trail mix that I can make up that day. So I will pull out like the cereal that has like just a little bit left in it, or the pretzels, or if I'm feeling very generous, I'll throw some chocolate chips in there, but not all the time because they melt and mess. Um, like yogurt covered raisins. Just it's so random. It's different every time, and I just sometimes I'll throw in one of those little applesauce pouches, like the squeezy ones,
oh nice.
but I'll like half open it first because
Make it
there's no way
easy.
I'm gonna be able to open that for you.
Yeah.
And so I'll just give it to them. And at the beginning of the day, I'll be like, okay, this is your snack bag. We will stop for lunch and we'll arrive at our destination at 3 o'clock or I don't know, whatever. But this is your snack for the car. You can eat it all at once or you can make it last. You do whatever you want with this bag, but that's all I have. And they're like, okay. And then one of them just plows through it and it's gone before we're even like out of town. And right now I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And so far, it's hasn't been a problem. Like my 6-year-old tends to just fly through her snacks, but my 3-year-old tends to nibble on it. And I would have it that way rather than the other way around because the 3-year-old you can't reason with as much.
Yeah.
But the 6-year-old I can. So I'm like, if she plows through it, and I'm like, oh well, that was
Yeah.
it. And then at least I know she's got something in her stomach. So I know she's not like starving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's something like that I would like to do with Lily, but I think she's still too young. So like when she's done with her snack, she's gonna be like, more snack, and then she's not gonna like so I think I need to wait a little bit on Lily on that. But that's definitely something that I'd probably do because it's simpler for me too, just to have like this is your snack bag instead of I bring like our whole pantry full of like baby
Mm-hmm.
snacks and she's like a bottomless pit. I literally wrote in all caps, snacks, snacks, snacks,
Oh
and more
yeah.
snacks because, yeah, so Paul and I tried to, well, we actually did. We made it to Colorado. We didn't make it to the mountains of Colorado, but that's another story. But we were driving, so we drove to Colorado. We made stops in like Amarillo or whatever, but I had a lot of snacks, and she just like every time she would make any kind of noise, I was just shoving food in her mouth. And that's not like the healthiest thing to do, but I was like, here, or like, at one point I just opened up like an entire canister of like puffs or whatever, and I was like, here, just take all of them. I don't care. I mean, it was messy, but but I mean, at
Yeah, but
least,
she was quiet.
yeah, because she's learned how to make like the most annoying sounds possible when she's like upset. So like you can't ignore it because it's like the most annoying sound you ever heard. So yeah, she's learning a bunch of fun stuff.
They learn all of your buttons like so fast.
Yeah.
It's insane how quickly
Yeah.
they're like, oh, she really doesn't like it when I do this. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so this is a good one for, I mean, if you like being like organized. I mean, I'm not organized, but
I'm not either.
this is one of the things that I'm like I always make sure that I do is I plan out where we're going to stop beforehand. So I know that the diaper changes are happening at like Bucky's, which is what I mentioned earlier. So I know when that is, and then I like to plan like where we're gonna eat food too, because it makes it easier. Because when we get close to that place, I can kind of start to get stuff together. Because when you stop, you have to like pack all this stuff and pack the diaper bag and all this stuff, and so it's just easier to like know where you're stopping, so you can be ready to just like jump out of the car rather than like scrambling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a few times we've done, the random like, let's just stop right now, and then we were scrambling. But usually, if it's a good Lisa day, and I get my
Mm-hmm.
organization in, then then I like to plan it because then it just makes it go smoother, and it's less stressful. Because I tend to, like I said in the last episode, like I'm prone to stress, and so wherever I can lessen it, the better. So this is one of those things that it really helps me. So I like to try to make sure I always do that.
Another thing I do, and probably every mom who's honest will admit to doing this, is I just give them their tablets. I'll try and make them like wait a certain point. Like if I know, oh, it's a 4-hour drive, I'll make them wait at least an hour and have them entertain themselves with books or whatever Happy Meal toys I have in my purse.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay, you can have it for this amount of time. But the thing with me is like, if I'm in a car and like one of them has one tablet going and it's some kind of song or whatever, and the other one has her tablet going and it's a Peppa Pig game, and then it's just like a lot of noise, it gets to just be like too much where you get overstimulated. So if I know that's going to happen, I will download a bunch of podcasts or something on my phone beforehand, and I'll actually just put my earbuds in, which looks funny if you drove next to me and you saw me sitting in the car with earbuds while I'm driving. You're like, why doesn't she just use the radio? But that's because it'd be way too much. And then when I try and turn the radio on, my kids in the back are like, that's too loud. Can you turn that down? And I'm like, I'm the driver.
Yeah.
But I'll just do that. And like sometimes, like if they're fighting or whatever, I'll pull just one out so I can just hear and make sure they're not killing each other.
Mhm.
But that really helps me get in a zone and just chill. Because driving on a road trip is already stressful enough because I'm terrible at directions. I have so many stories of how I ended up in the wrong state like all the time. So if I can just listen to something and not be overstimulated, it just makes it go so much smoother. Like happy mama, happy life.
Yeah. For real. Yeah, I'm really bad with directions too. My friend and I were talking the other day about like how before GPS we used like MapQuest. And MapQuest is the worst. We like print out the directions and it was terrible. And yeah, I told her, I was like, had they not invented GPS, I probably wouldn't have survived.
Guys, I am so excited to tell you that the Imperfect Moms Club has merch. That's right, we are feeling so legit over here. If you check out the link in our Instagram bio or you follow us on the blog, you can find t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, stickers, water bottles, even bandanas for your dog. It's so adorable. And if you purchase any of our merch, you're actually helping support the podcast. We would love to see you wearing our shirts, so please tag us on social media.
This happened when Clara was 2, when we were on the airplane. And we had done like the sippy cup thing, like I said, where we took the milk that was already like pre-packaged and we had dumped it in our sippy cup. And it was one of those sippy cups, what are they called? Those Camelback sippy cups. And you have to like push the little button and like little spout pops out.
Oh, cool.
And and so those were like so cool. Like everyone in our daycare had them. So I was like, oh, I need one too. So I got one. I was trying to like keep up with the Joneses. So we had that. And again, science. Like I didn't understand, and I should have understood that cabin pressure is a thing. Okay. So we had her sippy cup in the plane and cabin pressure happens. And so then, I don't know, 30 minutes in, she wanted her sippy cup. So we're like, okay. And so I can't remember who had it, but we had the sippy cup and we go to push the spout so it opens and it just exploded like half of her milk.
Oh my God.
Because the spout just like goes from shut to open, it like turns. It sprayed us, it sprayed the people behind us, it sprayed the ceiling, and it sprayed the people in front of us, and it just went
no.
It was like one of those volcano science experiments. And we were like, oh, what just happened? Because we were covered in milk. She still had half of a bottle left, so we were okay. And I felt so bad, and I hit the little button, you know, to have the lady come, and I was like, I am so sorry, but I need some napkins, and they need some napkins, and these people also need napkins.
Oh my God.
And because I'm just awkward, I was apologizing to people, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, it's just her milk. And then I was like, oh my word, they're gonna think it's breast milk. And I was like, it's not human, I promise. Mike's like, shut up and sit down. And I was like, they're gonna be all grossed out, they're gonna think it's my milk. He's like, no one was asking that, like, just sit down.
Oh my God.
So I don't know how to avoid that. Maybe just have it open the whole time, but that was our story.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Mine is like, oh man, next to that one. I can't even like, because I probably wouldn't have thought of that either.
I was just thinking my kid's screaming, here's some milk. And then
yeah, like who thinks about like, oh, cabin pressure? Yeah. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh my God. So Lily's 5 months old, right? We're going to Ohio. And she wasn't old enough yet to like be entertained by like a movie or something. So she was still too young. Like she needed to either sleep or be eating or whatever still. So we were like, okay, we'll feed her and then she'll go to sleep. And she wasn't sleeping. And literally the only position that she would sleep in and not be fussy was my husband had to hold her like in front of him, like he was like hunched over with like and kind of tilted. He stayed that way the entire plane ride, like because she was sleeping, and then had he moved just like a quarter of an inch, like she would have started like screaming bloody murder. So and it was 2 flights there and 2 flights back.
There should be a special button when you're flying that says, do you have a baby? Okay, we'll get you directly there.
Yeah, seriously. Like, but yeah, so I just felt so bad. He was so sore for like the entire trip because he was like just this one really awkward position. And I just like babies, like, oh my God, they're only comfortable in one position and they need things when they need them. And just, yeah.
They don't care.
Trips with kids is, I don't know. Like, you need a vacation after you go on vacation.
Yeah. And like, I saw something and it said something like, moms don't really get a vacation. They just take care of their kids in a different city. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much. Mm-hmm. I saw a funny tweet. It was It was like, going on a trip with your kids is just yelling, "If you don't stop, you can just go home, but in a different state."
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of the Imperfect Moms Club. If you like what you heard, please visit our website at www.imperfectmomspodcast.com. There you'll find more information about us, a list of all of our episodes, a blog, and even a merchandise shop. We love this podcast so much and are thrilled to be able to share it with all of you.